Title: When the Night Falls in Willow Creek, a tale of fear and revelation, the line in the trees. Erin Vega arrived in Willow Creek just after noon, windshield speckled with dust and her GPS flickering like it didn't want to be there. The town crept up without warning. A scattering of houses, one gas station, a rust-stained diner, and silence. The kind that didn't just settle over a place, but lived in it. She parked outside the diner, stretched and scanned the tree line. Forest pressed close on all sides. Thick, undisturbed. Like it had been holding its breath for a long time. Exactly the kind of place where people made up stories to feel important. Erin wasn't here for stories. She was here to do a job. Survey 200 acres of undeveloped land for a real estate group planning a lakefront retreat. The pay was solid, and she liked the quiet. But this place, it was too quiet. Inside the diner, she ordered black coffee and a sandwich, and the waitress stared at her clipboard like it was a weapon. "You the one heading into the woods?" Erin nodded. "Just a survey. 3 or 4 days tops." The woman's mouth tightened. She glanced out the window toward the pines. "Be out before dark," she said quietly. "Always." Erin raised an eyebrow. "That a weather warning?" The woman didn't laugh. "It's just how things are here." The bell above the door jingled behind her. A man in flannel entered, made eye contact with the waitress, then with Erin. His expression said, "You shouldn't be here." Erin finished her sandwich, left a tip, and walked out into a town that felt like it had already decided not to trust her. The woods started just past a rusted fence and a faded posted private property sign. She walked 30 minutes in, placing flags and marking waypoints. The forest was beautiful in a heavy looming way. Tall oaks and thick pines carpeted in moss. She heard no birds, just the occasional creak of trees swaying above. At 5:45 p.m., she checked her phone. No signal, no surprise. She packed up and turned back toward the town. That's when she saw it. A figure, just beyond the trees. Human-shaped, not moving. No sound, no face visible, too still. Erin blinked. It was gone. She told herself it was a branch. Then she walked faster. Things you don't ask. Erin locked the cabin door as soon as she got back. It was a rental. A 2-room box just outside the town limits. No Wi-Fi, no landline. The kind of place where silence wasn't peaceful, just thick. She pulled off her boots, reviewed her notes, and tried to shake the image of the figure in the trees. Probably just a hunter, or a weirdly shaped tree, or nothing at all. But she kept replaying that moment in her head. The sense that she was the one being surveyed. At 7:08 p.m., something knocked on her door. Once, just a single knock. She froze, listened, waited for a second. It never came. She looked through the peephole. Nothing. Just trees and dark. She didn't sleep well. The next morning, she stopped at the gas station to pick up supplies. The clerk barely looked at her until she asked, "You know anything about the woods north of here?" He stopped scanning. "You go in last night? Just for work?" He hesitated, then said, "You hear anything?" "Like what?" He looked up. "Whispers, knocking, calling your name." Erin's stomach tightened. "Why?" He shook his head. "Forget it," she pressed. "What's out there?" He leaned in, lowered his voice. "They don't have names, just rules. Don't look too long. Don't answer when they call. Don't follow anything that looks human after sunset." Erin let out a short laugh, expecting him to crack a smile. He didn't. "You think this is funny?" he asked. "I think it's a little much." He nodded slowly. "That's what the last one said." She raised an eyebrow. The surveyor before you. He left his gear in the woods. Never came back for it. When? 2 years ago. By noon, she was back in the forest. The deeper she walked, the stranger as it felt. Cooler air. Quieter too. Her equipment worked, but her compass started to pull slightly north even when she turned. She marked another set of coordinates and knelt to check soil texture when she noticed something. A pattern in the dirt. Footprints, bare, too small for a man. No shoes, no obvious direction, just appearing. She followed them a few steps cautiously. Then she heard it, a voice. Erin. Clear, software right behind her. She spun, nothing, no wind, no movement, just the trees. She walked out faster this time. By the time she reached her truck, it was 6:02, and her hands were shaking. Echoes in the pines. That night, the knocking came again. 2 knocks, slower, heavier. Erin sat up in bed, breath caught in her throat. The clock read 3:19 a.m. She didn't move, didn't speak. Then, from outside, her voice. Let me in. Not a request, not begging. Just a flat imitation of her own voice, like someone had scraped it out of a recording. She gripped the flashlight on her nightstand, but didn't turn it on. A minute passed, then 5. Silence. She stayed frozen until dawn. By morning, she was done pretending. She drove to town, to the library. A 1-room building next to the church. A woman in her 70s sat behind the counter. Erin didn't bother with small talk. What happened to the last person who came here to map the woods? The woman looked at her for a long time, then quietly stood, walked to a filing drawer, and pulled out a faded newspaper clipping. Local worker missing in North Forest. The date was from 2021. The photo showed a man, maybe mid-40s, holding a tripod, smiling. He was like you, the woman said. Didn't listen. Listen to what? She sat back down, folded her hands. You think we don't go in because we're scared of stories? We don't go in because we know. Know what? The woman leaned forward. There are things in the trees that don't belong to this place, never did. They wear our shapes, use our voices, call us close. Why? To replace what they lost. Erin tried to laugh, but it came out dry. The librarian reached beneath the desk and handed her a page torn from a book. Yellowed and brittle. It was a hand-drawn map. The forest, at the center, a circle, no label, just a word in red ink. Echo. What's this? The woman whispered. Where it listens. Erin returned to the woods, not out of curiosity, out of defiance. She followed her flagged path, took a hard turn east, and started cutting through thicker brush. The forest shifted. The deeper she went, the less it felt like a place for people. The trees leaned in. The light dimmed even though it wasn't yet 4 p.m. Then ahead, a clearing, perfectly round. At the center, a cabin. Rotten boards, blackout windows, something in the doorway. Not a person, a shape, human-sized, wrong somehow. It stepped back inside. Erin should have left. Instead, she stepped forward, the listening place. The air changed as Erin crossed into the clearing. Heavier, still, but charged, like the air before a storm. Her every step seemed to echo in the dirt, even though there was nothing around to bounce sound off. The cabin looked like it hadn't been touched in 50 years. The roof sagged. Moss crawled up the walls. The door stood open, slightly crooked on its hinges. Inside, darkness. And from that darkness, breathing. Slow, raspy, like someone pretending not to breathe but forgetting how to stop. Erin stepped onto the porch. The wood didn't creak. That was the first thing wrong. The second, the feeling that something behind her had followed her from the tree line, and was now waiting. She turned her head slowly. Nothing. But the woods had gone completely silent. Not dead quiet. Expecting. She stepped inside. The cabin was colder than outside. There was no furniture except for one thing. A chair in the corner, facing away from her. A shape sat in it, still breathing. Her flashlight flickered. "Hello?" she said. Her voice cracked more than she expected. The shape in the chair didn't move. Then it spoke. "You were warned." The voice was hers, not like an imitation. It was her voice, exact, familiar in her bones. Erin backed away, light trembling in her grip. She stepped outside the cabin and turned to run. And stopped. The clearing was gone. The trees now surrounded her. No sky above, no path, no way out. And worse, something was standing in every direction, dozens of them, human-shaped, still, mouths open, no eyes. Then they spoke, all at once. "You heard us. You came anyway." She ran. Through trees that stretched taller than they had an hour ago. Through trails that led nowhere. Through fog that seemed to form faces in the corners of her vision. She didn't stop until the forest thinned, and she stumbled onto the old fence line where she had entered days ago. Beyond it, her truck. She didn't look back, not even when she heard her own voice calling behind her, calm and steady. "Come back." We weren't finished. She drove straight out of Willow Creek, never once looking in the rearview mirror. The whispers followed her for miles, until they didn't. And that was worse. What was left behind? Erin didn't stop driving until she saw city lights. Not just one or two, but a skyline. She checked into a hotel under a fake name and spent the entire night sitting in the shower with the water running. Trying to convince herself she'd imagined it all. But she hadn't. Her voice had called to her. The woods had changed around her. And something still felt close. The next morning, she checked her laptop. All the data from her survey, gone. GPS logs, audio, photos, wiped. All except one file, a single video. She didn't remember recording it. She hit play. The screen was black, then slowly, light, the clearing, the cabin, and her, standing in the doorway, completely still. In the video, she turned slowly toward the camera. Her mouth moved. No sound. She leaned forward, face filling the frame. Then she smiled. Not how she ever smiled. Too wide, too knowing. And in her voice, flat, clear. "Now you've seen it too." The video ended. Erin tried to return to work, to normal life. But things had changed. Sometimes she'd hear her name in public, only to turn and find no one. Other times her reflection didn't quite match her expression. Delayed by a second, mouth twitching, before she smiled. She moved apartments, changed phones, started over. But at night it always came back. Not dreams, memories. Of the cabin, the chair, and the thing in it that wore her voice. Epilogue. 6 months later, a search team went into the woods near Willow Creek looking for a missing teenage boy who wandered past the fence line at dusk. They never found the boy, but they did find a footprint trail that led to a clearing. And in that clearing, a cabin no one remembered building. Inside, a chair, facing the door. Empty. For now. Thanks for watching Haunted Chronicles. If you heard the whispers, don't ignore them. Subscribe for more true-feeling tales of terror. And remember, the most dangerous places aren't haunted by ghosts. They're haunted by the truths we bury. New horrors every day. Like, share, and stay close to the light. You never know what's watching when the night falls.